Welcome
This time.
to... It worked the second time. Welcome to Found Footage.
That's right, guys.
We watched The Ant-Man.
the Ant-Man.
And now we're going to tell you about it. Well, first we're going to
No
have the
spoilers, though. We're gonna have
We'll try not to have any spoilers. We'll do our best.
Matt is the spoiler, though, so it may
The
happen.
Spoiler King! I'm wearing a School for Ants shirt, and we were not in Ant-Man, by the way. So, not cool.
So we're drinking a little beer for this one called the
Sweet.
It's called Sweet Action. It's by 6 Point Craft Ales.
Oh, it's called Sweat Action. Oh, I'm sorry. Sweet Action.
Prost.
Prost.
It's pretty good, right?
It's weird. It tastes like it should have hops, but it's not that much hops.
No, it's like
Very
orange
smooth.
peels and coriander and stuff. It's all
Maybe that's what it
spiced.
is, the peel of the orange is what I'm thinking of.
It's mad
And
science.
it's in a Red Bull can for some reason.
That's why I thought you put it for the Ant-Man.
For the Ant-Man.
Marvel's tiniest hero.
Marvel's hero that has the most energy.
And also that really could not exist at all.
So, yeah.
There's no
So
way.
Ant-Man's part of Phase 2, Marvel. It's still part of Phase 2, right? We're still in Phase 2.
Phase 3, I think.
Oh, we're in Phase 3 already?
We're in Phase 3.
Damn it. Okay, Phase 3 Marvel. And Ant-Man in the first week of the box office made $58 million, which is...
Lowest opening since the Hulk.
But I don't think...
Ang Lee's the Hulk.
Well, I don't know if it deserved that, but we'll talk about that while we're going with it. Okay, so it started Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, who ended up being the Ant-Man,
The Ant-Man.
the titular character, if you will. And Michael
I don't like
Douglas
how you
as
said
Hank
titular.
Pym. Titular. Titular? Titulars. Okay, I said it right. And Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, the mentor, he's going to create this dude.
Michael Douglas, who we have not seen since Falling Down. What's the last thing he was in? Basic Instinct?
He's got enough money. He doesn't really need to do anything. And then Corey Stoll, who played the villain.
And Corey Stoll, you might know if you watched. If you watched.
He's on House of Cards.
House of Cards.
Yeah, he's actually great in House of Cards. He's actually really good in this movie too. I think.
Sure.
I think for what they gave him.
Sure.
All right. We'll talk about
Sure.
it. That's what we're here for. Okay, so let's talk about the premise. You want to go into the premise a little bit?
So the premise is that the Scott Lang he's an engineer, but he went sideways. He broke bad.
He just keeps doing things wrong.
And
he's messing up.
He got put in jail for it. He got out of jail, but of course he's a convicted felon now because of something bad thing he did.
And then he's trying to do the right thing, but he keeps doing it the wrong way.
Well, because it's hard to get a leg up when you're a felon. Obama, watch anything Obama said recently. We visited those prisons, get those people out of jails, get them jobs. You know what I'm saying? Scott Lang, he's before that happened, so he didn't get a job. Baskin Robbins always knows though.
They are. They may be connected to Hydra somehow. I don't know. But
I think that would have been a good connection. Actually, it would have been like
I think
Hail
so.
Hydra, and then it's like the guy working at Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
He gets back together with his crew, and his crew's played by Michael Pena,
he's really good in this
He's
movie.
played every
I think he's
Latino
good.
ever.
But
Yeah,
I think
as a
he was
Latino
fun.
stereotype, yes.
But he's getting paid
He's a
for it.
gangbanger stereotype.
He's getting paid for it.
And
to do
T.I.,
it.
who Matt, one of Matt's favorite actors, actor/rappers.
T.I., who is still allowed to do movies, even though he is a criminal, basically.
He's playing a criminal in this movie.
Yeah, I guess that's why. Okay, yeah, let's do that. And then David Damaskian as Kurt, the other guy.
Oh yeah, the
other guy in the crew.
He's that weird-looking white dude you see and stuff.
There's a couple other little guest stars. Haley Atwell is Peggy Carter, an incarnation of her in one of the things they were showing. And there's a Avenger, which I won't get into. You've probably seen it in the trailer anyway, but there's an Avenger in this movie that takes part in the movie, so that's kind of cool. Hydra Buyer.
He finally gets back. He's like back in the game because he really wants to. Basically, he needs to live to eat, and he doesn't have any money. He also doesn't want to lose his daughter, and his wife's basically like, if you don't get a job, I'm gonna take your daughter away. And wife played by Judy Greer,
Who's playing every
who's
mom.
wife in every
She's like mom,
mom, wife,
ex-wife.
and every
mom, wife / ex-wife and everything now.
yeah, and everything in the summer at least.
Which
Jurassic World she was in.
I don't know. She doesn't got enough of the Hollywood look to be a star, but she's really probably the best actress in the movie, and she.
Well, she's 39 and it's Hollywood.
A part that is nothing.
She's 39
for
in
her,
Hollywood, so she's not like Monica Bellucci,
who's still doing it at 50.
who's going to be in the
Still
new
doing
James
it.
Bond.
Inspector.
Um,
It's a great trailer, by the way.
we can talk about that on a different podcast on a different day.
Where I'm wearing a totally different shirt.
Okay. So the heist actually happens. He of course is brilliant in it because he's a very smart guy. He thinks on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing he finds though is the suit. That when he uses it makes him really small. And then he finds out that the guy that originally owned the suit let him take it so that he could become the next Ant-Man.
Man. And we won't go too far into it because we'll get too far
That's the premise.
too
That's
deep
all.
into the plot. But it becomes a really good heist movie, I think. Like it starts off as a decent superhero origin story and becomes like a fun heist movie. It's like really, I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, like all the little MacGuffins and stuff they put in all work out. And unlike Jurassic World, where like it was a MacGuffin where it was like, I know science, so like I can fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
It was,
and they did have those in the beginning too. There's a couple times where it's like, oh, that's convenient.
It felt more fun though than it did like this is ham-handed.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
It was much less ham-handed because there was a lot of parts where I thought, oh, that was convenient, but it didn't take me too far into the movie. They got me back into it. Especially Paul Rudd's acting ability was fantastic. I mean, I didn't think it was hard sell for me to say Paul Rudd's going to be a superhero. Because Paul Rudd is awesome and he's really funny in what he does, but I didn't feel a superhero vibe from him until.
Well, you kind of when you have a character like Ant-Man whose power is getting small, you kind of need to go a little more comedic with it. So it was, in my opinion, was the movie ended up being very refreshing tone because of that. It was a very light comedy, and the action was good in the scenes they had. And it was actually kind of delightful when you got to those action scenes. Because you're like, oh, wow, this guy really is doing it. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and they had the montage where the hero expertly learned how to do the thing in like 3 days. Like how many days did he have to learn how to be a karate master?
We got to stop these guys in 2 days. And then I know what to do. Oh, boy.
But
that had to happen, otherwise the movie would have been like 12 or something.
But it was well done still for the most part, and I was enjoyable. How'd you feel about Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne?
I'm glad they put a strong female character right off the bat. I love Evangeline Lilly, and I've said that before in many podcasts.
And this isn't just like he likes her as an actress. This is in love.
Well, she's on my five celebrities list. Like her, like Emma Stone. I think Emma Watson's probably on there.
Emma Watson, like young Harry Potter Emma Watson, or now?
The five is people that you would have sex with now. Like you can have sex with someone in the past, or you're sitting in a time
There's no cartoon characters on there? There's no cartoon characters on there then. That's all I'm saying.
It'd be a waste of time. It'd be a waste of a spot. You obviously don't know. Matt's never done the five before, and that's sad. Anyway, back to the podcast. So, I thought she played well off of him. I think they could have given her, like she was glowering. There was a lot of glowering from her character, and I felt like they could have lightened her up a tiny bit for the rest of the tone of the movie. Especially when you had Michael Pena like, hey, I'm over here, like, I'm a goofy clown, look at me, I'm a goofy clown. And you've heard like, and you're like, okay, that's weird.
I think they were trying to reiterate because there really hasn't been a female character like this in a Marvel movie. It's tough to say that.
What about
Black Widow?
Black Widow?
You can't even remember.
The other female
You're like trying to think about it,
movie.
like, yeah. Then she's going, go to sleep, Hulk. Go to sleep. I'm whispering in your Hulk. And they're like,
on the soft feminine side, you're a hardened killer.
Yeah, you murdered like 1,000 people at least.
You've killed more than any the other Avengers combined. Yeah. Like including the Hulk, and that guy murders people on the daily.
He does it by mistake. Like he just punches somebody, and the guy's dead. You know,
like he beat the guy's head off on a comic once. Like holy man.
Yeah, and he doesn't even remember it afterwards. But I think they were trying to make her like, look, she's not like the other Marvel feminine characters.
She's a tough chick, and I like that. You know, and
with daddy issues, but you know.
Of course. So but they do it with the guys too.
Dad is
the Ant-Man.
The other Ant-Man.
The original Ant-Man. And I like how they showed like a little. They showed his backstory in a good way. They also did that the age technology where they make the guy look
He
younger.
looked, actually, that was good age technology.
And like it looked like a post romance in the stone.
That was good. Like I was like, okay, because sometimes that age technology looks a little weird, and it did look. There's moments where it kind of like blinked out a little bit, but it was really good.
And then instead of the Dominic Cooper Howard Stark, they had the John Slattery one.
I like Dominic Cooper Howard Stark.
I don't know. He looks like a little kid to me.
I like him.
He always looks like a little kid, and I like John Slattery so much more.
I like John Slattery in Mad Men. I don't like him as Howard Stark.
He plays Howard Stark.
Boring. He's boring as crap as Howard Stark. I think.
He feels exactly the same.
Okay.
I just feel like he has a drink in his hand afterwards.
All right. Well, that's what he's supposed
and
to
then they age make up
Haley Atwell,
Peggy Carter, because they're doing like a Shield thing, and Hank.
She is like basically going to be in every movie until.
And I'm fine with that. She's amazing.
Maybe the next one.
I'm so glad they picked up.
She might be the one that she might bite it in Captain America. That's what I heard.
It's like super old lady,
but
she's super old.
Yeah, because she's super old. But
wow, yeah, she's gonna die of old age.
Supposedly one of the scenes is at her funeral, or something like that. But
which is fine. That she's
so yeah. They had an Avenger. This who was like a secondary Avenger, but it was still kind of cool that like the scene that they had with Ant-Man versus him was really cool. I thought it was very interesting, and it showed how the Ant-Man works.
Well, like any good heist, there's that scene where like, oh, this is the layout of the place, and then it's not that, and it's a very fun surprise that you can kind of pick up if you watch the other movies before that. But if not, then it's still fun, and that's what I really liked about it. I learned a lot about ants. More than I think I wanted to know.
I like how they don't really get there, but they almost humanize the ants in a way, which I kind of liked. Like
what I didn't like is that all those ants aren't indigenous to that area. Like they're not all indigenous to the United States. You're not going to find like the fire crazy ants and the bullet ants and like he's just bringing ant farms around with them.
No thanks. No,
that's what I'm saying. Like you're not going to find those everywhere.
You like throw the ants like he has them like an ant pokeball.
Yeah, like you lay out, like he opens it up. Here you go, guys, and they're just like chilling in there.
I choose you, bullet ants. By the way, no thanks. Have you ever seen a bullet ant's jaw and it's like as big as your finger?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and they have little spurs on them, little hair spurs on them. Gross.
No thanks.
Gross.
I don't know.
But you can command that. What if you command them? What do you?
If that thing bit you, no, that would hurt so bad. Oh, just like look at the thing, like, oh, no.
But so yeah, I want to know what did you like about the movie?
There were some great fight scenes, and now obviously there's a lot of CGI because there's small realms.
Oh, there's CGI. I thought it was practical.
Shut up. There's some great scenes though, like in the small world, and that's kind of something they haven't
in the quantum world.
They haven't before quantum. We haven't gotten to quantum yet. This is just like the small world, like the tank engine scene and the inside the briefcase scene and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of cool fight scenes.
That was the best in a briefcase fight I've ever seen.
Hands down.
Bar none.
But there was a lot of cool, like I was like, oh, that's cool, and I was delightfully surprised. But I was delightfully surprised, especially by the performances. There's one more person I want to talk about because I know that you had mixed feelings about it. And then let's talk about it. Darren Cross is Corey Stoll playing Darren Cross. How do you feel about him as a character?
I liked
Yellow Jacket. He ends up being the.
I liked the way he portrayed the character. I just feel like the character wasn't very fleshed out, and it didn't help that he's like this bald, almost nondescript white dude. Like, and he's just like, Hank Pym was my mentor, and that's literally his log line. Like that's where he goes. Hank Pym was a mentor,
and then Hank Pym's like he was a little unstable, and you're like, okay, why? I don't.
But then he's also like, I have a particle that's basically identical to Hank Pym's particle, and you're like, so it's a Pym particle.
And then I'm just gonna sell it because I'm a jerk for some
reason. But also call it a cross
reason.
Particle, like. Okay, you can't sell.
Well, he has a building, and instead of saying Pym, it says Cross. I'm like, jeez, man. Jeez.
We get it. Like we get it, dude.
You're a dick.
We get it.
But that's the one thing I think his acting was great. I just don't think they gave him enough to work with because they're like, you're really a secondary character.
Well, he's very cookie cutter villain.
We want to see the Ant-Man,
and because they were developing that relationship between Hank Pym and Scott Lang, they didn't have enough time to really develop that villain relationship. There was like the Hope Van Dyne and him and the Darren Cross romance angle they had going on, with like holding hands at the beginning. I was like, what is that about?
Well, that's one of those traditional the girl that the hero's gonna like is going out with.
But they had zero chemistry. That was
they did I just thought they were business associates that were kind of hanging out. And they're like, we're holding hands the same way.
Yeah. Well, that was weird and confusing, and I was like, so wait, are they have a relationship that was cut out? Or something?
They tell you more about it, like she's kind of the inside man type thing.
But still, does that mean she's like fucking him? Like
to get into the technology, she's got to do whatever it takes. She's basically the Black Widow, except harder.
But I don't like that. I like that.
She might not be. Who knows? I don't know. They didn't explain that. So
plus, if
you're looking into it, you're extrapolating.
If I had my daughter, I was like, yeah, just go fuck that guy, so you can get the secrets.
Can you go fuck my my main rival,
my mentor, my mentee? Like no.
He hates me, but can you have sex with him, please?
Just keep doing stuff for him.
Yeah, just play with his balls a little bit,
wink,
and find out what he's doing. And she didn't really find out what he's doing, by the way. She barely found out any of this.
And I don't respond anything, but yeah, there was she in that capacity was basically useless. And also the fact that I thought there was gonna be a twist where she was gonna turn to hit the bad guy's side, especially after the romance thing, and she was just being spurned the entire movie.
She was kind of in the middle on the fence, and they were trying to be like, hey, she might go either way, but you didn't feel like she'd go that way ever.
Yeah, like when they first said it, I'm like, when we showed
because she's like, I have daddy issues, and this guy, I'm talking to him a lot, so you're like, oh, maybe she'll be on the fence.
Nothing else, and then just dropped.
And scene. And you're like, okay, whatever. Okay. I like Corey Stoll. I want to see him more stuff, but I wish they would have given him a little more to play with.
You wish you were Evangeline Lilly and that you could have done the scenes with him?
If I was Evangeline Lilly, I would never leave the house. That's all I'm saying.
It's a mirror. It's like,
yeah. Ooh, look at that. So ensemble cast. We talked about Michael Pena. How did you feel about the heist partners? Were they a little too goofy for you?
No.
They almost were a little campy.
I thought it fit the more comedic theme for me.
The guy who played Kurt was like, I have his accent.
That accent was terrible. But Michael Pena was definitely a caricature. But it felt like once you got that down, you're like, okay, this is out of the way.
Yeah.
Then
even though I hate T.I., his character was alright. Yeah,
his character was innocuous, though. That's why he was like, I drive a car.
Well, he's kind of like the chill one of all of them.
Yeah,
he's like,
but he's like, I drive the car.
They did have the one funny scene in the van. With them having to escape the van and steal, that was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, let's go into, because we don't want this to be too long. Let's go into our final
ratings.
Thoughts about this movie.
So what did you, Matt? I want to hear your rating. What did you sum it up and then give me your rating?
Okay. This was one of the better Marvel movies, and it's unfortunate that people don't realize that. Because there's so many nuances to a character like this, it is easy to do Captain America. It's easy to do Iron Man because you know who they are already. Especially if you were even a casual comic book reader. It's easy to know. Even the Hulk, it's hard to screw up a Hulk movie. They screwed up many Hulk movies.
So why the Hulk made less in this movie?
Exactly. It's really, but it's easy because you know these characters. Even Thor, you kind of know at least a little bit about Thor. And now you know a lot more if you watch the Avengers. But Ant-Man is like, it's like putting the Wonder Twins in there and like, okay, let's do this now. And then putting Paul Rudd in there. Nobody has seen Paul Rudd do something like this before. And obviously there's comedy in it, but there's a lot of action in it. And he is in shape for this movie. He got into shape. I guess his abs in the movie were his real abs. I'm like, damn, man. Yeah. I'm like, what other role would he ever have to get in shape like that for? I mean, Anchorman? Probably not, And so he did.
Brian Fantana was very.
He did his due diligence. Sexy. Michael Douglas is actually really, really entertaining. This there's a lot of cool scenes with him.
It was endearing to see him back on screen.
And see him in young face.
That was weird.
Yeah, it was really
weird, but it was
kind of cool.
It was done well.
Yeah, the CGI was done well. The fight scenes were done well. Like I said, my only issue with not making this a badass movie would be they could have fleshed out the villain more. And Corey Stoll did what he could with it, but there's not much he could do with it because they didn't really he is here. He's a bad guy, I guess. He's dead or whatever. I don't know. He might not.
Spoilers.
Be dead. No, it's not a spoiler because he might not be dead. It's freaking Marvel. What do you think? He was gonna win? If you thought he was gonna win, don't watch this.
Why not, man? It could have been a good twist at the end.
I
win, Yellow Jacket.
There actually is a big thing that happens in this, and that the end is not tied up completely. Because
What?
there's something that happens that, like, some of the bad guys get away with stuff in the end. And we'll talk about that. I won't go into...
And that was actually... And the director said that was purposeful.
Yeah. And that's kind of cool. I like that. That's a good idea. You know, because first of all, it could lead into other movies like the Civil War that's coming up, or even the next Avengers movie.
And if you see the end credits, it directly is affected by that. If you understood what was going on there.
Yeah, well, it was tough in the end one. It was like, all right, you know, the end scene was a little weird. It was a little like vague. It's like he can help us.
No, but if you understood the ending of the movie, then that's why they need him.
Well, we'll talk about that off camera because I don't understand it. But I like the guest star. I really like that fight scene especially. That was actually my favorite fight scene in the movie. Over the other cool ones that was because it was entertaining and fun, and the Avenger who played it did really well.
You're doing really good not spoiling.
Trying
You're doing such a good job.
I
was gonna be like,
I will give it a must see because like I said, I would go all the way if the villain was fleshed out more. I will go all the way with Evangeline Lilly. I mean, but Paul Rudd was spectacular. He did probably best acting in the movie.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go off that because I'm looking forward to seeing Paul Rudd in more Marvel movies, and he's already confirmed for Avengers Civil War for the record, as of this recording, and he
or Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, Captain America Civil War. Yeah. But he was great. He was so charismatic. He
sold me.
I didn't really believe the him and Evangeline Lilly thing, but I'd like to see more with it. Yeah. And I think that was part of what gave me not giving it one of the higher ratings, the highest rating. I really like the heist elements, and I read a little bit about this. The director actually put more heist elements from because I guess Edgar Wright's original script, although it was really good, didn't have much of the heist stuff in it. It was just kind of like, oh, we win.
I think it was the Michael Pena stuff with where he was talking about where he got the tips from. That was one of the big things that he put in. Yeah, and it was a fun little thing. Actually.
Well, and also with the one secret thing that he ends up finding Avenger, that part he also kind of fleshed out more too, which I really thought were two stronger parts of the movie.
I agree.
I love Michael Douglas, and I loved their chemistry, Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas's chemistry especially. Yeah. And I would actually like to see Michael Douglas again in other movies too. As like an advisor maybe to the Avengers would be great.
Well, he was a SHIELD agent. I mean, he's still.
I left the movie feeling really good, and like it wasn't just like oh, that was action packed. I felt good leaving that. I really enjoyed that movie, and like I said, a couple little notes off, but I would give it a must see as well.
Like and usually I love going to see any of these movies because they're my characters and they're kicking butt and it ends good and it's like America at the end. That's how you go out feeling. But this. It felt genuine. Like all those other ones are like explosions. Yes, your hero wins. This one felt like wow. I want to see more of this character itself. I don't really like. I like Iron Man. I just want to see Iron Man blow stuff up.
Well, what I also like too is that this was family. Like a lot of those are very dark, and this was very not dark.
Not DC dark, but
this was very lighthearted. It was definitely something you can take your family to see. I agree. It's definitely a must see, guys. Like honestly. You may have like, what's Ant-Man? If you like Paul Rudd, if you like fun summer movies, if you like Michael Douglas, if you love Evangeline Lilly, that's us right here.
If you like Corey Stoll, you won't see much from him, but he's in there.
He did a good job.
If you like T.I., you're a jerk.
If you like Mexican stereotypes,
you love Mexican stereotypes. Hey man, it's me, Michael Pena. I've been Mexican stereotypes.
Sorry, Donald Trump, he does not get deported at the end. Not a spoiler.
If you like Judy Greer, you'll see her for 5 minutes in this movie.
Just pause in your mind, Judy Greer.
Damn it. Get her more roles.
Yeah, so you heard it from us, guys. Must see.
Must see movie, guys. Thanks for coming.
Finn.
Fang.
Fum.
Stay classy.
Let's go for Ant-Man.